This is one piece of our puzzle, a documentary about Jackie Chan and his stunt team called My Stunts. However, since it's both produced and directed by Jackie Chan, it is far from an objective documentary. It's more of a promotional piece designed to make Jackie and his stunt team look amazing. Don't get me wrong, they are amazing, but the point of the documentary is to promote them as the best in the world.
We're better than you, and we know it.
This is the second piece of our puzzle, Ron Smoorenburg. After setting a world record for kicking 11 feet high, which I wouldn't recommend trying to do unless you're willing to do the splits and crush your own, against a wall, Jackie Chan saw this footage and had Ron Smoorenburg flown out to Rotterdam to film the final fight scene in Who Am I? This was Ron's first movie. It's like he got his big break right off the bat. Way to go. Since it was his first movie though, that means he had no established reputation in the industry. That'll come into play later. The final fight in Who Am I sees Jackie Chan take on Ron Smoorenburg and Quan Yeung. Quan Yeung had been a part of the Hong Kong stunt scene since the 70s, being in fight scenes with guys like Jet Li and Donnie Yen. In other words, he had a very well-established reputation. If you were to say he sucks, people in the industry are gonna know if that's true or if you're lying. So if you're making a documentary to make yourself and your stunt team look better than everyone else, an easy way to do it is to make it look like no one can do what you and your guys can do. Put more honestly, an easy way to do it is to throw someone under the bus.
What was that? Doesn't matter.
And that's exactly what Jackie Chan did to Ron Smoorenburg with the documentary My Stunts. They showed clips of Jackie overreacting, pretending to be frustrated with Ron, the narrator saying garbage like,
teaching Smoorenburg the necessary sense of timing and distance to ensure a safe yet dynamic duel taxes even Jackie's patience.
Listen slowly, carefully, watching.
To ensure a safe yet dynamic duel taxes even Jackie's patience.
So they had to replace Ron Smoorenburg with one of the all-time greats, Bradley James Allen, for this sequence. In an interview on the YouTube channel Viking Samurai, Ron said that this isn't true, that they were looking for a way to get Bradley James Allen into the fight. Does that sound suspicious to you? They wanted to get a stuntman into the fight scene, so they had him double for the guy that they flew out specifically to be in this one fight? I was suspicious too. But then I noticed not one but two dead giveaways that showed who was telling the truth, Ron or the documentary. I looked into what Bradley James Allen was doing around the time this was being filmed. The very next film he was in was Jackie Chan's Gorgeous, where he does the exact same combo against Jackie. It's a sequence that Brad and Jackie were already working on, or at the very least, Brad himself was working on. He is, after all, a world-famous fight choreographer and was constantly choreographing his own fights. The second dead giveaway is, if this is the sequence of the fight scene that they had to replace Ron for, why didn't they show footage of Ron screwing up this part of the fight scene? Why didn't they show Jackie getting frustrated while trying to film this sequence? Instead, they only showed footage of Ron and Jackie working on this part, a part that Ron clearly wasn't doubled for in the finished fight scene. Yeah, that's Ron, not Bradley James Allen. In light of this evidence, I don't believe for a second that they had to get Bradley James Allen to double for Ron Smoorenburg. I think they chose to get Bradley James Allen to do a signature combo of his in the fight scene because they wanted to. I doubt they have any footage of Ron trying this combo, or else they would have used it in the documentary. They would have put it side by side with the Bradley James Allen take to show which one was better. The only reason for them not to do that is if they never filmed Ron doing this in the first place. Jackie Chan's documentary My Stunts throws Ron Smoorenburg under the bus.
What was that? Doesn't matter.
With a fabricated story in order to make the Jackie Chan stunt team look better than everybody else.
We're better than you, and we know it.
Not only is it something they should be ashamed of, but it ruined Ron's career. No one wanted to hire him after this, and it took years for him to undo the damage this documentary did to his reputation in the industry. And the most shameful part is Jackie Chan, being producer and director, had final say over this narrative. This was a good opportunity to show the truth, that fight scenes are a team effort. If someone being doubled helps the fight, you do it. Everyone in this fight gets doubled. Even the doubles get doubled.
I'm seeing double here. 4 crusties.
At one point, they have someone swinging a fake leg because it worked better than having anyone on the Jackie Chan stunt team throw this kick, essentially having a stunt double for humans in general. But instead of the narrative of everyone playing multiple roles to create the best fight possible, Jackie chose to go with a narrative of the one outsider not being good enough and needing to be doubled for multiple sequences because those sequences were so complex that only the Jackie Chan Stunt Team could do them right. But what about the other guy in the fight, Kwon Young? He's experienced and never needs to get doubled. Except for here. This isn't Kwon Young. And this isn't Kwon Young either. In fact, it would have been just as easy to say Kwon Young wasn't good enough and he had to be doubled, but they didn't. I'm okay with Kwon Young being doubled. It's a group effort. I'm also okay with Ron Smoorenburg being doubled because, like I said, it's a group effort to make the best fight scene possible. But what about Jackie? Who Am I came out in 1998, so this was filmed in 97. This is when Jackie was building his entire brand in the West around being the action star who does all his own stunts.
The action hero who does all his own stunts.
Every talk show he was on at the time asked him outright if he did all of his own stunts, and Jackie said yes. Except he gets doubled here. This isn't Jackie. This isn't Jackie either. I guess they had someone stand in because Jackie
Still proves unable to execute certain sequences with the correct rhythm.
This isn't Jackie. So when it's good for the fight scene, he gets doubled too. This little fall isn't Jackie Chan either. This isn't Jackie either. In the finished product, there are more shots of Jackie Chan being doubled than Ron Smoorenburg being doubled. But instead of building this beautiful, true narrative of a group of passionate people coming together and using all of their skills wherever they can to help create this incredible fight scene, they went with a lie. A lie about how only the one outsider was doubled because Jackie and his team are too good for anyone else to keep up with them. And this is just the straightforward stuff in the fight scene that I'm discussing. I haven't even touched on the weird stuff like how Kwon Young's English was so bad
It fell down to the car park.
that Jackie re-recorded his line at the end in post-production.
Don't hit me! Don't hit me!
That's Jackie Chan speaking, not Kwon Young. Or this part where both Jackie and Ron have wires attached to their feet while kicking each other's shins. I reached out and asked Ron Smoorenburg about these wires, and he said it was to ensure the accuracy of their kicks. I imagine so that they didn't break each other's shins. Which means that this sequence involves Jackie Chan, Ron Smoorenburg, someone holding this wire to assist Ron, and someone holding this other wire to assist Jackie, all working together as a team to create the best looking shots possible. It's a team effort, like all fight scenes. And it's time for Jackie Chan and the Jackie Chan Stunt Team to be secure enough to admit that, instead of throwing people under the bus when it suits their narrative. I love this movie, and these fights. I love the fights that all of these guys create, but what they did was really friggin' terrible. Ron won't say it himself, but I think they owe him a bit of a public apology. If you want to see the full interview of Ron Smoorenburg talking about this fight scene, watch it here on the Viking Samurai channel. And if you want to see Ron's own tally of how many times he and Jackie were doubled during the fight scene, click here.